Welcome to Head to Dead, where we take two similar horror movies, compare them to find out who comes out ahead and who winds up dead. I'm Heretical,
I'm Edge.
and this week we have a recommendation from YouTube from Untamed Rhino. We're covering Freddy vs. Jason versus
AVP. Let's get into it.
Starting this nightmare is Freddy vs. Jason. Classic horror movie icon Freddy Krueger enlists the help of Jason Voorhees when the town forgets him and loses power. The two turn against each other when Jason keeps killing victims intended for Freddy. Alright, Ash, tell me about Freddy vs. Jason.
Okay, I think the movie's pretty good. I think it is a victim of its time. There is a lot, I know that sounds weird, but
Sure did.
it came out in the early 2000s. We know that those movies at that time kind of followed the same formula. It was a trashy, kind of quick and dirty
Money grab. It was kind of a money grab.
Yes, but I don't want to go as far as to call it a money grab. I mean, it was obviously, but I'm not going to say that I don't think love was put into it. I think there was love put into it.
You think maybe they just didn't have the budget?
No, I don't want to say they didn't have the budget because they had to have a pretty decent budget, right?
Yeah, from all the other ones for sure. They had to, right?
But the movie, when I say that it's a victim of the time it came out, I mean the people that are cast in it, the people that, the way that they're portrayed, the way that they're acting. I don't have to watch much of the movie to tell you that it did not age well, especially with a lot of the dialogue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You get what I'm coming around with now.
And not to mention there was that one guy that you knew was going to die immediately because he walked in and was immediately douchebag.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They that was actually getting to a point is they did that classic thing they always have to do where they have to make you hate this dude and know he's a dick so they can justify totally killing him later because nobody acts like that.
Yeah, he just walks in and is like, "Don't make me ask you twice."
Come on, seriously.
Who does that to a girl you like?
And like they had they did like the cliche thing. They had like the stoner guy.
It was very Scooby-Doo-esque.
It's a toss-up. I don't know if they were doing that as a parody of the older films to like shed light on it, or if they were just keeping the formula. But it just came off as a little for me. Like
shedding light on the positives, though, it was very entertaining. Like there was a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. I laughed a lot.
Especially Freddy's parts. Freddy is just
he's always
full of comedy. Robert Englund,
he's the best. Yeah,
he's the only best. He's the only one I can picture to be Freddy, personally. And I remember watching this movie. You were like, just say bitch one time.
Yeah,
just say bitch one time.
You're waiting for come here, bitch,
the whole time.
I will say that where the movie lets itself down and lets the audience down is the CGI is dreadful and it is overused. And if you are an old horror fan, if you're a Friday the 13th fan, and if you're a Nightmare on Elm Street fan, that these movies have great practical effects.
Yeah.
That's always been their bread and butter. That's always what they've lived or died on. To see CGI like it was forced into that doesn't match at all.
Well, I think it was a time where the CGI was coming out and they had these computer programs and they were like, we want to use these so bad.
Yeah.
So I think that when they came out, they brought out the computers and they wanted to use them so badly that they overused it
It was wrong.
Because they thought it was going to be a positive effect. But clearly it didn't hold up.
It almost derails everything they were trying to do, in my opinion.
Almost. I mean, even with the positivity stuff going on, it, like you said, it does kind of mess it up a little.
I'm just going to say one thing, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Caterpillar. Freddy Krueger. CGI Caterpillar Freddy Krueger. Give me a fucking break.
The hookah?
Yeah, what the fuck was that? That was a CGI nightmare. Yeah. And the worst part about it is when they did use practical, it looked pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
So
the Caterpillar though, that was out of left field. Like I have no idea.
A lot of that movie was out of left field.
They said, we have a stoner. We have to have something for him to look at and go, oh, that is me, man.
Yeah.
That's like, no, that's not how it goes.
I mean, I am trashing the movie a lot, but I don't want to get the wrong impression. Pound for pound, I enjoyed watching it.
Oh, for sure.
I do enjoy watching it. I mean, did it age well? Hell no. like, it's not good compared to what I thought it was back when I first came out, but
Not at all.
it's still fun. The bones are still there. You've got the fight scenes are kind of fun between Freddy and Jay. It's a weird mix-up to me. Like, seems like I just want to say Freddy Krueger's a little, underclass there to be against the Titan of.
Yeah, even his footsteps alone, he came out and was like, "I'm heavy."
Yeah, like,
so.
How did he sneak into that house?
No idea. He just boom,
folded
boom.
that man up like a pretzel.
That happens, man.
Okay.
Have you ever done that? But yeah, I think there's a lot. It's very like 50-50. There's a lot of positives and a lot of negatives with this movie.
It's my final thought on it is good bones. They ruined it with the CGI and they outdated cliches in acting.
I mean, that's all we can say about it.
Moving on to Alien vs. Predator, when a group of archaeologists head to a heat source in Antarctica, they discover an ancient pyramid deep in the ice. They soon find themselves in the middle of a battle between the ultimate hunter and parasitic aliens. Thoughts on AVP?
Man, I gotta tell you, I actually loved it. I'm a huge Predator fan to begin with.
Hold on, side tangent. The ultimate debate: Predator 1 or Predator 2?
Predator 2.
Me too. Okay,
So,
thank God.
yeah.
Both great, but Predator 2.
Okay, good. Now we can be friends.
Okay, back to what you're saying.
I was about to fight you. But no, the movie AVP itself, I actually, going into this, I knew it was going to be a fun time. I knew that it came from a long line of other movies.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, of course there's going to be lots of fans and stuff. But I will say, though, as we continued and we met all the Predators, some of the Predators didn't hold their own as much as I wanted them to.
Yeah, it really kind of came down to a showdown between that one.
Yeah, they were
Predator. Yeah,
I feel like the Predators were being picked off a little too easily. If I say
Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
I guess that's just me.
Weird to have that many Predators even in, because if you look back at Predator 1 and 2, you got the one Predator.
Yeah.
So strange of them to make a team of Predators anyway, just to sort of introduce them to kind of just be cannon fodder. Maybe just start with the one guy if it's kill them all off.
I mean, they even had a big Predator that was supposed to be kind of
tiger voice.
I guess, yeah, yeah, he did have a tiger voice.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Whenever he was fighting the xenomorphs, every time he went to attack, he was like. Rawr.
My theory is they had a sound for it and got corrupted, or they didn't like it, so they had to find a sound really quick. So they just used a tiger stock sound.
They just used a stock sound.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's terrible, though. I wouldn't have done that. I would have tried to mix, kind of like how they would have in Jurassic Park. Sorry to bring up another movie. But how they
multiple
had
sounds,
the multiple sounds into one to make an all new sound.
The T-Rex is like an elephant and a lion and all kinds of stuff like that. Yeah.
But that being said, though, I had fun with this movie. The effects were very well done. About
the effects too, it's not as insulting to see the special effects in this movie, because ever since Predator 1, it was an effects heavy movie.
Yeah.
It had practical, but it didn't rely on it as much as the other films did. So it wasn't as much of a slap in the face to see the special effects, and they weren't too shabby.
They weren't. I will say, though, I think they do try to save money by having an invisible Predator.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we don't have the money to have them in this scene, so just make them invisible this time with a laser.
But you kind of gotta have them.
You have to have them.
What are you gonna do? They've kind of established that you gotta have invisible Predator.
I will say that some of the acting was pretty on point for me, anyway.
There were some weird spots.
Okay.
I think you know what I'm talking about. We both laughed at it when we saw it.
There was a spot where they mentioned something about the moon,
and then it's like.
They just had some sort of fake laugh. I don't know why, but they were just like, that's hilarious. This dude was like, yeah, the moon brings in friends and family and then enemies also, and he's just like,
they both had shared a laugh.
Okay, what is that? What? Okay, I don't understand.
You know what was cool about the movie? The setting. That pyramid was awesome.
Yeah, okay.
With the moving floors and the moving walls. That was really cool.
I was actually more terrified of the pyramid.
It's scarier.
Yeah, getting squished.
The claustrophobic spaces. Ooh. Yeah. That brought me back to As Above, So Below and stuff.
The guy getting dropped down below, or in one scene, one of the guys was running and he went to crawl through.
Yeah.
And as he's crawling through, the floor is just crushing him.
Dude, my butthole was clenching.
Oh, I couldn't even get any tighter. It was so crazy. But I had fun with it.
I had a lot of fun.
They're, like I said, it's 50-50 on this one too. Like, you're gonna have your bad spots, you're gonna have your good spots. But I will say that in this one, I feel like the effects were better, the acting was a little better. I mean,
seemed higher class, higher tier.
In ways, yeah, I think it was.
With either movie, if you're like a lore fan though of either of all of these movies, you're going to be disappointed because both of them do just screw the lore up for. Yeah, but that's a totally different type of movie fan. You know, some people are really lore heavy, some people don't really care.
Yeah, like if we're going into this for, I'm a big Predator fan. You're not.
You're going to be disappointed in the way they've changed the lore. Yeah, and I'm just trying to represent that part of the community. I know it's a big thing, but.
Can we get over to the Alien Queen though?
Cool design.
Okay, so the Alien Queen is so freaking big, and I won't lie to you, I actually felt very bad for the Alien Queen at the beginning.
Oh, they're like stabbing her to so the acid blood can get out of the that was pretty
so
cool.
I was like, man, they're torturing this creature for their own gain, and because it was all
torture. Oh, the predators, yeah, they were torturing it.
Well, they were like shocking it so that way they could
stimulate eggs out of it.
Yeah, and then when the eggs are born, they kill them for their own personal gain, to show that they're warriors.
Breaking news: the predators, the people who hunt people and rip their spines out, are shitty.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought that things that go
awesome mouth.
If they would just keep their masks on, I would totally like them a lot more.
Yeah, way better.
Every time they've ever taken their masks off, I have to look away because I'm like, that's terrifying. I hate this. It's ugly. But that's the Alien Queen in general, though. The fact that they went so far out of their way to make a realistic, Alien Queen, that you could physically touch, it's a practical effect.
Yeah.
That's wild to me.
Yeah.
And it was big as hell.
I think the movie matches good for bad about 50-50. I like it.
As you can see, I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, and we are here to finally decide which one's better between AVP and Freddy vs. Jason. What did you think?
I'll say right now, this is a harder decision than I thought it would be. Both of these movies had pros and cons,
Sure.
like most movies do. Freddy vs. Jason had the cliches, it had the outdated dialogue.
Early 2000s.
Yeah, Alien vs. Predator had the annoying, completely dark footage and the zoomed-in fight scenes, which were also a pain in the ass for that time. But coming to the end of it, I think if I'm judging the whole movie together, I think that Alien vs. Predator puts on a more comprehensive and a more good show. It makes more sense to me. It's just a more competent film.
So do you think the storyline altogether was better written?
Yeah, because it's when you have these versus movies, they literally, the whole plot just exists to get these two people together. Clever way to get Jason and Freddy together, but at the end of the day, you can sniff it out that it feels like this is just a way to get them together. The Alien Predator one did a better job at hiding it to me.
Now, before we go on, I will say, I did a little research on this. They threw out the script for Freddy vs. Jason 10 times.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
So, because as many times as they went to the drawing board, they could not figure out how to get these two together.
I think it's because fundamentally it's a bad matchup.
I don't think it was a good matchup either. It was a fun film, for sure.
Really? Yeah.
I liked seeing the classic villains meet up with each other, team up for a short time, for sure. But that last 30 minutes where they actually were trying to attack each other, that was fun, but the CGI was bad. It kind of brought me out of it. And then there was that really bad dialogue.
The fight choreography was better, though.
You could see it.
They actually put some in there, yeah.
No, you could actually see it. But watching Jason jump around the screen as a pinball, even Freddy himself said, pinball machine.
Yeah, I kind of liked him when he hit him with that canister and it. That made me laugh. But I do appreciate the fact that they knew it was silly, so they started playing into the silly stuff. You got to give them credit for knowing that this is a crazy concept.
Yeah, I mean, Freddy, you can't have a Freddy Krueger movie without some sort of comedy in it, because even the originals from the old times, it was literally, there was
you can't give him enough credit. He's a horror icon. He changed a lot. I think that
great actor.
We're looking at now and we're seeing great newcomers like Art the Clown and stuff. I just want to say that I think Freddy probably, he walked so those characters could run like he did. He set the foundation for it to be okay for there to be a wisecracking, funny slasher. Yeah. So you got to give him credit every time.
Absolutely.
And like you said, sorry to interrupt, but like you said earlier, Robert Englund, anytime he is there, he's putting on a good show. Like, he does a great job.
Yeah, I like I said earlier, to me, I cannot see Freddy being anybody but Robert Englund. Like, they've done remakes.
That remake should have never happened.
And the guy that plays him, I give it to him. He did his best, but he just wasn't it.
It's a different thing entirely. To go into the mistakes that remake made, which, mind you, we ought to add those to the list to do the remake of Friday the 13th and the remake.
We should. We will.
That's going on the list. I think
that is going on the list.
But going back to the point you made earlier, I think that some of the comedy that they did try fell kind of flat.
Yeah.
So I don't have any choice but to put that against it.
I mean, and that being said, my choice, I am also choosing Alien versus Predator.
Wow, okay. I thought you would go Freddy versus Jason.
I thought I would too, because as you know, I like classic horror just as much as the next guy, but when we were rewatching AVP,
holds up better.
I had more fun watching all the different ways that they kill things, watching all the different ways that they're making it through this pyramid, and the dialogue was a little better, I'm not gonna lie.
But how many times do you really have to see Camp Crystal Lake,
Every time.
Yeah.
Every freaking time. Every time there's a Jason movie. I mean, they had him go to space, and they still found a way to go back to Camp Crystal Lake.
That comes out later. Is that one? That one's after this one, right? Isn't it? That's a bonkers movie. If you've never seen I don't even remember
Jason
the name
X.
of it. Yeah,
Jason X.
Bonkers. Yeah, I like that film.
Jason gets ripped as hell, but that's a story for a different time. Lots of upgrades. But yeah, I'm choosing AVP too, just awesome. Like I said, just off the fact that I was more entertained by it. I enjoyed Freddy versus Jason, but
that's okay.
It's definitely a fine film. You can watch it and have a good time. I'm not crapping on it at all.
I'm a little bit.
Okay, I'm crapping on one part because it was a victim of its own time, because that dialogue should have been written out.
Yes, you know what? Like, I get it. Everyone says it's a different time. Yeah, and not everyone's so sensitive about that stuff. That's fine. But you kind of got to address it in the future, because, that's just bad optics.
Yeah.
To go back in time, and you see it a lot with, like, even when you watch, like, you ever watch old episodes of Jackass and stuff. They put that little warning on the top, and so I can't be so harsh on it. But now having the light of the hindsight, knowing, it just seems so cheesy to kind of have those kind of like crappy lines in there like that.
This is coming from people who have really tough skin. Like, we don't take anything seriously or to heart.
Yeah.
But for them to not be able to come up with a different way to say certain things,
like,
it could have just been written a different way.
That being said, it's like that kind of stuff. We're a little bit older, not to age ourselves, but that stuff's never going to really bother us the way it does others. But that doesn't make it necessary or acceptable for them to continue to try to carry on with that kind of language, because we're growing as a society. So
but at the end of the day, when it comes down to just straight facts of which one entertained me more, AVP.
Yeah. Like, if you haven't seen Freddy vs. Jason and you're like a slasher fan, watch it. You'll love it.
For sure.
But just don't expect it to hold the values of the older movies, of the fear and the actual suspense, because that is what at the end of the day made me pick AVP. Is that AVP? Yeah, it breaks the lore and et cetera, but it doesn't slap the face of the legacy of its movies, like with the practicals and stuff like that.
Speaking of that, also, a friend of mine brought it to my attention that AVP isn't even considered a horror movie.
We're kind of dipping in thriller or action.
We're dipping into more actiony.
Kind of like Terminator in a way.
Yeah. So instead of it being like a horror movie, we're kind of comparing a a funny horror movie to an action thriller.
Yeah, but horror is so subjective, you know?
Yeah.
And if you want to think about it, I could think of some scary themes from Terminator. Nuclear war is terrifying.
That, for sure.
You know, it
Also,
just depends.
Robots coming down and just being like,
Terrifying.
here we are, gonna kill all of you. So that's another time again.
100% AVP.
100% AVP.
Same. So that's the show, guys. You heard our thoughts. Let's hear yours. Let us know what movie you think comes out on top. Also, if you want to leave some comments below for movies we can tackle next, we'll be sure to add them to the list and let you know when the episode comes out.
We want to give a special thanks to our friend Untamed Rhino for this recommendation. It was a fun time to do this. Also, next week we'll be covering some cold-blooded killers. We'll be covering Lake Placid versus
Anaconda.
Slither on in.